A while back, a close friend of mine asked me if it was wrong that he was the one who ended the pay it forward streak at Starbucks. In other words, someone decided to be really generous by anonymously paying for the next person's coffee. And an unknown number of people subsequently did the same thing, until my friend broke the streak by not paying for the person behind him. Does that mean my friend is selfish, greedy, maybe less generous than the people ahead of him? Many of you are probably nodding your head up and down as you listen to those questions. I see it differently. I believe he was the only person in the story, besides the original giver, who acted with love and selflessness. Now, several years ago, I was sharing a meal with one of my mentors. Being the generous and loving man that he is, he offered to pay for my meal. Me, as I always tended to do, I tried to pay for his instead. And when I was unsuccessful, I tried to have it split. You've probably seen that before. A handful of friends at dinner, having a fun time at a restaurant, lots of storytelling, laughing, sharing memories about the good old days. And then the bill arrives, and there's this suddenly awkward little scrum where a couple of the guys look like they're hand fighting, trying to be the one to grab the bill out of the waiter's helpless and nervous hands. The more aggressive one, or maybe the one with the longer arms, snags the bill, and he proudly slams his card in that little black jacket. Meanwhile, the other guy is still trying to snatch the bill out of his buddy's hands, insisting he should be the one to pick it up. And you're probably smiling at the thought of this story because you've witnessed it before. You've maybe even been part of it. And it's kind of fun to watch. While I was busy trying to do the same thing with my mentor, he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, "When you refuse someone's generosity, you're robbing them of the opportunity to be a blessing. Please don't steal my blessing, Travis." At that time, I was just starting to learn what it means to be truly generous. I was learning that giving was one of the most godly and life-giving things we could ever do with our money. And I reveled in finding opportunities to be a blessing to others. And in doing so, I think I became prideful, and I falsely believed generosity needed to flow one way and one way only, away from me and towards somebody else. So here I was in the stage of life trying to model and encourage generosity to others, while simultaneously robbing those very people of the opportunity to be generous to me. Talk about sabotaging my own mission. And since that conversation, I've really tried to do better. I've tried to change my heart, and for the most part I have. When someone gives me a gift, my gut tells me to push back. After all, I don't need it. Then I quickly remember they aren't giving me a gift because I need it. Rather, they're giving me a gift because they see an opportunity to be a blessing and show love to me. Even when my gut says no, my heart and my response says, "Thank you." I'm thankful for their generous spirit. I'm thankful for the love they're showing me. I'm thankful for their selflessness. And as a matter of practice, I've made a vow to never, ever again rob someone of the opportunity to be a blessing to me. When a youth group kid offers to buy me lunch, perhaps it's a lot of money to them and not much to me. I say thank you. When a colleague offers to buy me a coffee, I say thank you. When we're out to dinner with another couple and they offer to buy our meal, I say thank you. Generosity doesn't flow one way. In order to be truly generous, we need to be humble enough to accept others' generosity with love and gratitude. So, back to the pay it forward streaks at Starbucks. When someone in front of us pays for our drink, why don't we simply receive the gift, be thankful, and enjoy our free drink? And some would argue that we're returning the favor by paying for the next person. Math says otherwise. If our $4 coffee is paid for by a stranger, but we pay for the next person's drink, we still paid the same $4 we were already going to pay. We just tricked ourselves into believing that we paid for someone else. Why do we do this? I think there are two primary reasons. First, some people feel guilty for not paying for the next person's drink. They think to themselves, if they paid for me, I should probably pay for somebody else. Plus, I don't want to be the one to break the streak. Guilt-driven giving is the opposite of generosity. Second, and I believe more relevant to most, many people simply aren't willing to receive a blessing from somebody else. We think I don't need this gift, or someone else could use it more than me. So by telling ourselves that we're paying it forward, what we're really doing is deflecting the blessing and making ourselves feel like we've actually exhibited generosity. There's another word for this. It's called pride. The reality is that my friend, the guy in the Starbucks line, he was the only person in the string that actually had the humility to accept the blessing. There might have been 100 people before him that quote unquote paid it forward, but he had the humility and the gratitude to receive the blessing and simply enjoy it. Does that make him greedy? Not a chance. I think that makes him loving. Loving enough to receive a blessing with humility and to put his pride aside. And it's not to say that he isn't generous. Perhaps the next time he's at Starbucks, he'll pay someone else's drink. Or maybe he'll pay for the light bill of a struggling neighbor. Or maybe he'll give his car away to a single mother at church. Who knows what he'll do? But when he does it, I hope the person at the other end of the gift humbly receives the blessing and simply enjoys it with a spirit of gratitude. I sincerely hope they don't steal his blessing. The situation also raised to the top of my mind based on something that recently happened to me in this wild season of life. In all the quarantining, amidst the small businesses closing the doors, amidst people losing their jobs left and right, generosity matters more than ever. One of the things that my wife and I decided to do during this COVID season, which was triggered by a sermon I heard from a friend of mine, is to show intentional love to grocery store employees. Grocery stores became the backbone of our community during the crazy COVID season, especially right at the beginning, and their employees became newfound heroes. I solicited friends in my social media circle to give me names of grocery store employees so I could bless them in some small way. So I collected their names, I found their Venmo handles, and I started giving gifts. And it was so much fun. I dropped little notes of encouragement along with the money into their Venmo account, and one of them responded, "OMG, Travis, you didn't have to do that at all, but thank you, I really appreciate it. This virus thing has been crazy." To be honest, this was the highlight of my day. There was nothing that could top the feeling of having an opportunity to be a blessing, acting on it, and having the recipient receive it with love and humility. A few days later, a different recipient refunded my gift and included a message saying they appreciate the gesture, but they don't need it. They sent the gift back to me. And I have to be honest, that upset me a little bit. I wasn't giving them a gift because they needed it. I was giving them a gift because I wanted to give them a gift. I wanted to bless them. I so badly wanted to bless them. But if you ask me, pride got in the way, and they rejected the gift altogether. And that bummed me out. Now, maybe good still did come from this, and maybe my gesture truly did mean something to them, but I didn't want to make a gesture. I wanted to give a gift. It's kind of like me giving an awesome new toy to my son, him ripping the wrapping paper off the gift, marveling at the fact he's holding this awesome toy, handing it back to me and telling me he appreciates the gesture. I wanted him to open the toy and play with it. I wanted him to enjoy it for what it was. I didn't want him to give me a tip of the hat for my gesture, but yet so many of us do this when people try to show us generosity. It's hard to change, but we can do it. Every time someone gives you a gift, please think about the story. Suppress your gut instinct to deflect it and simply receive their gift with love and humility. When you do, it will change you and it will change them. Every time that you do this, it will shed a little bit of our pride and it will replace it with humility. And for the giver, at the very least, it will make their day. But something greater is at stake. For the giver, this one simple gift, given with love and received with love, could unlock a life of generosity that they never knew they had inside of them. Please don't steal that from them. Please don't steal their blessing.